Country singer Blake Shelton has issued an apology after some old racist tweets were uncovered by In Touch magazine. Let's throw up some of these tweets that people are talking about. So he says one of them is grown men who wear Chuck Taylors may as well write on their forehead, "Cucumbers turn me on."
What? What the?
Right, and then let's see. And then let's go to graphic number 2, which is I'm not gay, but I think Ellen is hot. Wait a minute, what?
What?
I don't even understand that.
I don't understand.
Graphic 3, and you can just kind of see there's a whole melange here of all these different tweets that we're
This guy's
finding.
a genius.
He says, if you haven't noticed Richard Simmons is gay, you haven't noticed Katy Perry's boobs. So, you know, he was called out on this and he issued an apology. He says, quote, everyone knows comedy has been a major part of my career and it's always been out there for anyone to see. That said, anyone that knows me also knows that I have no tolerance for hate of any kind or form. Can my humor at times be inappropriate and immature? Yes. Hateful? Never. That said, I deeply apologize to anybody who may have been offended.
No, he's a musician.
Yeah, he's a musician, but he apparently comedy is a big
He's talking
part.
about
I've
his
never
huge
been,
comedy
now
career.
I really want to go to one of his shows. Apparently there's, you know, there's music and there's some comedy and maybe there's some dancing. I was very excited to hear about this.
Everyone who knows him knows that hula hoop's a big part of what he does.
Big part of his act.
Yeah. Juggling, ooh, all
right,
the time.
Guys, do we think, I'm very interested to hear what you guys think because obviously as the gay member of the
What are you talking about? I'm the token gay as well.
Are you the token gay?
I'm the token gay too.
What?
And I'm even gayer because I'm male, so.
Yeah, you're way gayer. Damn it. I've never been out-gayed before on a TYT panel. I'm
just
a
threw
little
that down.
embarrassed.
I'm bisexual.
Really?
Well, I've had to bisex
God
sometimes.
damn it, Jimmy. That's
Talking
terrible.
about comedy.
So, how do you guys feel about these tweets? You think these are homophobic? Because he was getting dragged a little bit on Twitter.
I just think they were bad jokes. I don't think that it's homophobic. That thing about Ellen was just the confuse. He's trying to make a joke. She's gay. I'm attracted to her. Does that make me? Oh, wait a minute. No, because it's just dumb, bad jokes. That cucumber thing was like a 6th grade joke. They're dumb jokes. And by the way, Chuck Taylors are gay. There's no Chuck Taylors. What are you talking about? Chuck Taylors are Chuck Taylors. Aren't they cool? I thought they were.
I thought they were.
But by the way, maybe that's what he means. Because, you know, I always thought, like, they reverse all the stereotypes, right? Mexicans are coming here, work their ass off, and they call them lazy, right?
They're so lazy they take our jobs, Cenk.
Right. Indian givers, like we took everything from the Native Americans, and then we called them Indian givers, right? And so like, and gay guys are so much more fashionable than straight guys, and then we're like, oh, the uncool are gay.
Yeah.
Like, no, wait, isn't it the reverse?
Right.
So maybe what he was trying to do was empower it and say
Ooh.
Chuck Taylors are cool, and hence they are gay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know what he was trying to do.
Biting social commentary in the form of a 6th grade joke. I like
Isn't
you.
this
Like
sort
you,
of a
Blake
little
Shelton.
bit like the Kurt Metzger thing in that, like, there's just a brigade. There are people out there who I call the professional umbrage takers who scour online to try to find things to get offended at, and this is an easy thing to get offended at. They're stupid jokes. I mean, I suppose they're mildly out of taste. I mean, I suppose you could get offended by them. But the fact that he has to genuflect and issue like statements about how he doesn't mean this, it's humiliating and ridiculous. And also, just a quick point. This is from 2009, 2010, 2011. I don't mean to say everything is like totally culturally contingent, but our ideas were different back then. I used to do material about gay people in 2010, 2011, where I would do like a gay voice that you just wouldn't do today. Like it's changed that quickly. I mean, nobody was thinking about gay marriage. So he's a bro doing like dumb, he's a Southern country
also, in
singer. I
fairness,
mean, what do you expect from him?
I think pointing out the timestamp is important. It was 2009. Blake Shelton didn't know he'd be Blake Shelton in 2009.
He was a little whippersnapper with a glint in his eye.
He had no idea what was that the Voice was going to be coming out, that some guy in Sweden would think of the Voice and then it would come to the US. He had no idea. And I agree with you. I think you could get offended if you were to sit and really think about it. And I'm sure, and I don't want to invalidate people who were offended. Maybe someone really had a fear of cucumbers and were gay and it was a whole triggering thing. I don't know, maybe fine, whatever. But I think for the average looker at this tweet, reader, one might say, you'd really have to, you'd really have to sit with it for a while and decide to be offended. I don't know. I just feel like I'm an authority because I'm a lesbian, but
Can
I'm
I
not.
also
I don't
can
know.
I just say that is the best use of the word looker.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to be a looker from now on. When I'm reading a book,
Yeah.
someone's going to say, "What are you reading?" I'm going to say, "I'm not
Look.
reading." I'm looking.
Looking at some
I'm looking
words.
at a book.
So when he made those tweets, the liberal nominee for president at that time was against gay marriage.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
that would be considered bigoted
And
now.
President Obama was against gay marriage.
And he was against gay marriage at that same time. So I guess you're going to have to give Blake Shelton a pass on his fucking Converse jokes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to get one small note here to the opposite direction. Okay. I agree with you guys overall. And Jimmy and I have talked about this when we were growing up. The jokes people would make were far, far worse, right? And it's not like we didn't make some of those jokes. But then I was an idiot Republican when I was growing up. At least you weren't. But you're absolutely right, Josh. That even so now it's sped up an enormous amount. That from 2009 to just 2016, there's been a giant difference. Okay, the small note in the opposite direction is people who bring this to light, though, do help to fix it a little bit, right? They do make it so that it's not cool anymore to make gay jokes. Whereas, like back then when he was making them, he probably felt like, haha, this will be funny, it'll be cool, I will get approval for this. And when you get disapproval for it, well, then people get reluctant to make fun of gays. Good, that's not such a bad thing. So I'm saying, like, we shouldn't make a federal case out of it, yet at the same time, the people that are pointing it out are doing some service as well. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I used to make transgender jokes. I didn't know it. I didn't know it, and that was recent. That was just like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
I thought you were going to say 4 or 5 days ago. I was doing a set.
No, I remember one time I made one on the show, when still at Kern, whatever, and I got a lot of email. And I was just making it. And so then I was like, I started taking a closer look at it, and yes, I didn't know that transgender people were discriminated against. I didn't know the violence that was inflicted. I didn't know. So now I do. Now I don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah, and so I'll give an example too. Young Turks has been on the air forever now, 14 years, back from when we were a radio show. And I think we used to, we used to use the word tranny. And we didn't know that it was a bad word. And then people told us it was a bad word. And we're like, oh, okay, then we won't use it anymore. I think the answer here is let's point it out without like calling for heads. Like, without saying, oh, he's a monster and he should be fired from The Voice.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that people are really saying that, right?
Well,
so just be a little tempered.
The person who retweeted a lot of these and who revealed a lot of these, which was at MusicFactsT on Twitter, says, here are some extremely homophobic tweets by Blake Shelton. He's disgusting. That's a bit extreme to me.
Yeah.
To say that they're extremely homophobic because he's just poking fun at gay stereotypes and that it's disgusting. Get a life.
And I don't like the sort of witch hunt culture that we can get in on social media when we unearth something about someone and then, there's, especially of these sort of jokes. It's again, jokes in poor taste, but do we need to be dragging him on Twitter? No. And I really do think that his apology was a good and sincere apology. He acknowledged that, his humor was inappropriate and immature, but not hateful. And I don't think you can look at these jokes and be like, the hate, he's so angry. Like, this isn't an angry joke. He acknowledged it. He'd moved on. Again, these tweets are so old.
Can I also say, just in terms of the age of the internet and like YouTube and Twitter and social media, 2009, this guy was on top of it. Twitter in 2009, I didn't even know Twitter existed in 2009. If you'd asked me when Twitter was invented, I would have been like 2010. Definitely 2010.
So maybe he did know that he'd be Blake Shelton, and he's like, I better get this Twitter handle quick.
Did Blake Shelton invent Twitter?
Yeah.
Well, that's part of his repertoire.
Yes.
It's well known. It's well known. Comedy, music, and
Silicon Valley entrepreneur.
That's right.